Picture this, it's 2010. Bitcoin is trading for less than $1. People laugh, call it fake internet money, a scam, a joke. But a handful of visionaries take the risk. They buy, they hold. And a few years later, those tiny, ridiculous coins turn into fortunes, creating millionaires and even billionaires out of ordinary people. Fast forward to 2020. A meme coin called Dogecoin, born as a joke, is worth less than a penny. Nobody cares. Then Elon Musk tweets, and suddenly that worthless joke coin makes people millionaires overnight. Some kids in college dorms, some ordinary workers, completely unknown people, wake up to life-changing wealth. Or take Solana. In 2020, it was trading for less than $1. By 2021, it exploded to over $250. A single $1,000 investment turned into $250,000. And Shiba Inu? Another meme coin. People dismissed it, called it garbage. But early believers saw millions, even billions in returns. The truth is brutal. Cheap crypto looks ridiculous, worthless, even laughable, until it doesn't. Until it changes lives. Until the world suddenly wakes up and says, "Why didn't I buy it when it was so cheap?" And here's the secret. In 2025, the opportunity is still here. Hidden in the chaos of thousands of tokens are a handful of cheap cryptocurrencies with massive potential. They are risky. They are volatile. But history has proven, again and again, that the biggest fortunes are born in the places people fear, doubt, and ignore. So in this video, we're going to dive into 6 cheap crypto coins with high potential for 2025. We'll look at their history, their technology, their potential, and the risks. Because the next Bitcoin, the next Shiba, the next Solana could be hiding right now, in plain sight. Stay tuned. Because by the end of this video, you'll either be inspired to act, or you'll be the one saying years from now, "I wish I had." 1. Shiba Inu, SHIB. Back in 2020, Shiba Inu was just another meme coin, literally trading for fractions of a cent. People dismissed it as worthless, a clone of Dogecoin, just another scam token. But then something crazy happened, community power. The Shiba army grew, investors piled in, and SHIB skyrocketed. At its peak, some people who invested just a few $100s saw it turn into millions. Shiba taught us one lesson. Even a joke coin can become a global phenomenon when it captures imagination and momentum. Today, SHIB is still cheap, still volatile, but with ongoing projects like Shiba Swap and plans for Shibarium, many believe it hasn't told its full story yet. 2. Dogecoin, Doge. Dogecoin started as a joke in 2013, created to mock the entire crypto industry. For years, it was trading for less than a penny. Nobody took it seriously. But when Elon Musk began tweeting about it in 2021, everything changed. Doge went from a meme to a movement. People became millionaires overnight. But here's the truth. Dogecoin wasn't just hype. It became one of the most widely used cryptocurrencies for tipping, payments, and community engagement. Even now, it's still cheap compared to its all-time highs. And with Musk still backing it, the potential for another surge in 2025 is real. 3. Solana, Sol. In 2020, Solana was trading for under $1. Almost nobody cared. But Solana wasn't just another coin. It was a high-performance blockchain designed for speed and scalability. By late 2021, Solana skyrocketed to $250, turning tiny investments into massive fortunes. Yes, it crashed hard during the bear market. But here's the key, the technology didn't die. Solana still processes thousands of transactions per second, with one of the most active developer communities. It remains cheap compared to its highs, and if the next crypto bull run comes, Solana could easily climb again. Maybe not just to recover, but to break new levels. 4. Cardano, ADA. Cardano is known as the scientific blockchain, built on peer-reviewed research. Since its launch, ADA has always been a cheaper alternative to Ethereum, with a focus on sustainability, scalability, and academic rigor. In 2017, ADA was worth just a few cents. By 2021, it surged to over $3. Now it's back down, cheap again. The difference? Cardano has matured, with smart contracts, DeFi projects, and growing adoption across Africa and other regions. For believers in fundamentals, ADA represents a high-potential, low-price play in 2025. Polygon, Matic, Ethereum is powerful, but expensive and slow. Polygon, or Matic, emerged as a solution, providing faster, cheaper transactions while staying connected to Ethereum's ecosystem. Once trading for less than a cent, Matic rose to nearly $3 in 2021. Today, it's cheap again compared to its highs, but its partnerships with companies like Meta, Disney, and Starbucks show its real-world utility. With Web3 adoption rising, Polygon remains one of the strongest cheap cryptos with high potential. 6. Fetch.ai. FET. Now here's where the future gets exciting. Fetch.ai combines AI with blockchain. In a world where artificial intelligence is booming, projects like Fetch are at the front of a new frontier. Back in 2020, FET traded for just a few cents. In 2021, it surged above $1. It has crashed since, but the vision remains bold, an AI-powered decentralized economy. With AI dominating headlines in 2025, tokens like Fetch.ai could explode again. It's risky. It's speculative. But it represents the kind of innovation that makes high-risk crypto so tempting. So here's the truth. Every single one of these coins, Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, Solana, Cardano, Polygon, Fetch.ai, look cheap, risky, even laughable to some. People will tell you they're worthless, that they're scams, that it's too late or too dangerous. But that's what they said about Bitcoin when it was $1. That's what they said about Dogecoin when it was a joke. That's what they said about Solana before it 250x'd in just 1 year. History doesn't repeat word for word, but it rhymes. The story is always the same. Disbelief, risk, explosion, regret. Those who laugh today are the same ones who cry tomorrow. And those who dare today are the ones who rise tomorrow. Let me ask you, do you want to be the person who scrolls through headlines in 2027, shaking your head, whispering, "I should have bought when it was cheap"? Or do you want to be the person smiling quietly, knowing you had the courage to take the risk when no one else believed? Because cheap crypto is not about gambling, it's about timing, vision, and discipline. No, not every coin will succeed. Some will vanish, just like thousands already have. But you don't need all of them to win. You just need one. One Shiba. One Solana. One Fetch.ai. That's enough to change your life. And here's the brutal reality. Opportunities don't wait. By the time the world finally believes in them, the price is already gone. Bitcoin was $1. Ethereum was $10. Solana was $1. Dogecoin was fractions of a cent. And every time, the majority laughed. Until it was too late. Right now in 2025, we are standing at that same crossroads. The crowd is distracted, skeptical, afraid. But hidden in that fear are seeds of fortune. Small coins, trading for cents, waiting for the next wave of adoption, technology, or hype to lift them to unimaginable heights. So the question is simple. Will you be a spectator or a player? Will you be the one who regrets or the one who rises? If you're ready to stay ahead of the world, if you're ready to see opportunities before they explode, then smash that subscribe button right now. Because this channel isn't just about crypto. It's about giving you the unfair advantage, the vision before the crowd, the courage before the world catches on. Don't let fear paralyze you. Don't let doubt chain you. The future belongs to the bold. The AI boom, the crypto revolution, the blockchain adoption, they're all colliding. And the ones who act now will write the stories others will envy tomorrow. Remember this, regret is heavier than risk. Regret lasts forever. Risk, when managed smartly, is just a step toward transformation. So don't just watch the future, own it. Don't just dream about freedom, build it. Hit subscribe, join the movement, and let's rise together. Because when the dust settles, when 2025 becomes history, there will only be two kinds of people left: those who regret and those who rise. The choice, my friend, is yours.